There's been an incredibly inspiring story out of Alabama that I wanted to share with all of you, and it involves a young man by the name of Walter Carr. Now, Walter Carr got hired for a moving company. It's known as Bellhops Moving Company. But the night before he was supposed to start this job, his car broke down. Now, the first moving job that he was supposed to do was 20 miles away, more than 20 miles away from where he lives. And so he decided to not get discouraged, even though he didn't have a car to get to his job. He decided to walk to the location more than 20 miles away on foot to make sure that he made it on time to do his job. I mean, it's an incredible story. So
I gotta say, and as you'll find out, look, I'm impressed by the guy, and he's a wonderful guy. But I actually love the reaction more than even what he did.
No, this story, there isn't a single downside to it. This entire story and everyone involved is a winner, okay? Plain and simple, winners all around. So Walter Carr decides, all right, I gotta do it, time to go. So he's a US Marine hopeful. He's hoping to make it to the military. He walked throughout the early morning hours Friday because he needed and wanted the job with Bellhops Moving Company. Now, as he's walking, he gets approached by police officers because it's honestly the middle of the night and it's dark and he's walking alone. And so Pelham police officer Mark Knighton was the first to encounter Walter and stopped to ask him if everything was okay. Carr explained to him that he was walking to work and why. And then at that point, Knighton took action. So here's a cop who sees this kid, I mean, he's a man, but still a young man, walking and says, oh, no. Me and my colleague, we're gonna buy you some breakfast, and then we're gonna buy you some lunch to go, and then we're gonna drop you off at a church because that's the safest place for us to drop you off, and then you'll figure it out from there. So they do just that. And
Can I just say, look, when you get to the part in the story when the cops pull up on him in the middle of the night, like, you know, lately how it's been, I'm like, oh, your heart stops a little bit, like, no. And then they wind up helping him. I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank God, right? And so, look, guys, we report what's in the news. Unfortunately, a lot of times it's bad stuff. If it's great stuff, great, wonderful job by the cops here.
Yeah,
way to be decent human beings. It's a heartwarming story, and they treated it as such, and they made it way better. Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, it just gets better, though. It just gets better. So finally, he's dropped off at this church, but he's got to keep walking. He's not there yet. He's not where he needs to be for his job. So he starts walking, and at that point, a different police officer who was notified about this whole situation picks him up and drives him to the home where he's supposed to do the moving job, okay? So now it keeps getting better. All right, so let's go.
Can I just, real quick, in case you're wondering, why did the cops buy him breakfast and drop him off at a church so he's got to walk again? Right? No, they drove him really close, but they didn't want to drop him off at 4 in the morning in front of somebody's house.
Right, yeah.
And they knew the church would be safe. That's why they left him there, and then the other cop picks him up and brings him and explains to the people at the house, hey, the rest of the guys have not arrived, but he arrived here early because he walked throughout the night to get here. And then the homeowners, who are the ones that are moving, are incredibly grateful and love this story.
Yes, okay, so now let's get to the people in the home who need the moving to happen, right? So the homeowner is a woman by the name of Jenny Lamey, who is not lame at all, okay? She is amazing and a very sweet woman. So she wanted to share this story on Facebook, and it gives you a sense of, you know, the details of what happened behind the scenes. So let's go to graphic 37A. She wrote the following: he walked all night to get from Homewood to Pelham because he needed to get to work. For those reading this that are not local, that's over 20 miles. You could tell how the officer told us this story that he had complete admiration for Walter, and by my reaction, he could tell I did too. The police officer said they picked him up early that morning, took him to get some breakfast, and once they checked his story out, brought Walter to my house. I want people to know this, no matter what the challenge is, okay, so I don't wanna read that yet, because that's not the homeowner. So the homeowner shares this story and she sets up a GoFundMe account. And so of course, the story goes viral. People start donating money to him so he can buy a car. Okay, if that isn't enough to make you feel all like warm and gushy inside, then the CEO of the moving company does this.
We just got to connect just a little bit, and sounds like you're walking a lot. and you're gonna be walking a lot because you're gonna do a lot of Bellhops jobs too. So we as a team kind of got together last night, and we're trying to think about, all right, how can we get Walter to jobs? He's got everything he needs to be a bellhop. The one piece he's missing is like a way to get there. So this is my car, and I drive it like just barely, and I'd like it to be your car. And so I'd like to give you this car right here today, like right now. Like you can drive away with it. And I really think that it's in much better hands with you than it is with me. And I couldn't think of a better way to part ways with this and put it to better use. I'm serious.
I like that story.
All right, God, it's so nice when people are decent to one another.
I know.
Oh, thanks God. Okay, all right, so let me explain just a little bit more. By the way, that is a very young CEO. Okay, congrats, big guy, okay? And I'll give another shout out to Bellhops Moving Company. Apparently wonderful people, right? And a moving company where they're nice? That's weird. Okay.
No, there's nice moving companies.
Yeah, okay, you've had better ones than me.
You're crazy.
Okay, anyway, so Walter, so when his car breaks down, he really needs a job. He thinks Bellhops has been great. They gave him an opportunity, and he didn't have that opportunity before. And so he reminds me of my dad a little bit. So he's like, okay, well, I got to get to work. So what am I going to do? I guess I'm going to walk, right? So at 8 o'clock, he takes a nap for 4 hours, wakes up at midnight, and just starts walking. And then when he finally got to the home, and Anna told you the whole story, and then the lady at the home asked him to tell his story to the other workers, like, hey, you got this amazing story, tell him what you did. And Walter just says, I walked.
Yeah, he was so humble. Like he didn't, I mean, of course, he doesn't seem like the type, but he didn't brag or anything.
No, he's like the anti-Trump. Anyway, I don't want to make it political, but anyway. So, but it reminded me of my dad. Do you remember the story he said in the post game yesterday, tyt.com/join to become a member, get all the fun stories behind the scenes. My dad, when we put the cones around his car and he just drove right over them, he's like, and we're like, why'd you do that? He's like, I had to go to work.
Yeah.
Walter's like that, I had to go to work. Well, I didn't have a car, so I walked, right? No excuses, no nothing. I gotta go to work, I'm gonna get there one way or another, and if I gotta walk, then I'm gonna walk. That's why people love the story.
It's grit, he has true grit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
Right, and look, I wish everybody was like that so it wouldn't be extraordinary, but to me, again, the better part of the story, Walter's a wonderful guy, but is how open and warm everybody was.
Right, yes.
Okay, so it's so great to see anywhere, but also in Alabama, all these people being wonderful to one another.
So just to give you a little more background on Walter and his family. So his family lost their home during Hurricane Katrina. And so they're from New Orleans and they decided to move to Alabama following that devastating loss. And based on the comments and the quotes that he's given the media, even though he's gone through such terrible things in his life and he's so young, he has this level of gratitude that's amazing, because I think a lot of people would get discouraged. I think I would get discouraged, I'm just keeping it real, but he just kept pushing through. And so I'm gonna read you one of his quotes that made me emotional, but it gives you a sense of what kind of person he is. He says, I want people to know this, no matter what the challenge is, you can break through the challenge. Nothing is impossible unless you make it impossible. You can do anything you set your mind to. I've got God by my side.
Yeah, and one more shout out to folks we're not used to giving shout outs to, but we want to, is religious people, right? So he's deeply religious, and all those different setbacks he had, he said, look, God's got a purpose. I might not agree with that, but I love his attitude, and religion gave him strength.
Gave him strength and faith that things would get better.
Faith and hope, etc., and taught him the right things, and that's what he did here. And it worked out for him, now a new American hero. But again, the CEO's hero, cops are heroes, the religious are heroes. It's upside down world at the Young Turks.
And it is, but what I also love is that there was finally a reminder of the good people in this country, because they exist. And I think
ton of
doing
them.
this job, yes, there are definitely more good than bad. But doing what we do and having to cover the type of content we cover, you forget. And
Yeah.
I think it skews your worldview quite a bit.
And last thing, I know that no matter what we say, some in the audience will think we're biased about this or that. But our job is to deliver what is happening, okay? And if good things are happening, done by no matter who it is, we're gonna tell you. So thank God, finally a heartwarming story. Let's hope we can find more of these. And especially in an era like this, the more we come together, the better we're all gonna be and the stronger we're all gonna be. So have a little faith in each other. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.